that they need. Thank you, Sheena. Anything you need, any leads, good deeds, just drop it in the chat as well.
I got something.
What's up, Greg? How's it going, man?
So I mentioned this one a few weeks, like maybe a month back, but I have a wholesale deal on Maui that my buyer just fell out on. So I just blasted it out, I think like 2 days ago. But for anybody that's not on my buyer's list, it's a third of an acre in Wailuku town with a tear down main house and a cottage that just needs cosmetic and space for another cottage. So it'd be a really good 2 to 3 unit CPR deal. And I've already confirmed it with my engineer that it works. And yeah, so I'll put the address and my email in the chat if anybody is interested.
Perfect.
And the price on it's $580. So we dropped the price a lot.
Nice. So it's a possible CPR deal, yeah?
Yeah, it could be a flip, but like to just do a straight flip, it's kind of like questionable if you how profitable you be. So might make a little bit, but if with a CPR, it's my projection somewhere around 500K in profit.
Okay. And what would what is the area? Do you know roughly? Is it more in the rural sides or?
No, it's in Old Wailuku town, so it's like it's developed. Yeah, I don't know about most. Like there are some big lots, but it always seems like all Old Wailuku town is all like these like little 4,000, 5,000 square foot lots of all the little plantation home kind, So this one being a third of an acre, it's on the bigger side for that area.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Greg, drop your info in the chat. I might know someone that might be interested in that.
Yeah. And this one's kind of urgent because my buyer really kind of put us in a tough position. We're supposed to close in a week from today. So obviously that's kind of off the table at this point, but yeah, we're urgent to like close as soon as possible. That's why we've cut off like 90% of the wholesale fee on this one just to get it assigned so that we can perform for the seller. So we'll need to close it within like, 2-3 weeks, 4 weeks at the most.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So that would be a CPR round.
Hey, Carl, we have one mic. You want to say it or you want me to share with them? Mike?
You can go ahead and share that with him or, I can share it either way.
So we have a property in Waiwa Heights. Property is about 7,800 square foot lot. It's a small property. It's about 894 square feet. We're looking to probably wholesale it. If anyone's interested, Mike can drop the address and he can walk you guys the property. It's vacant. We're not in a rush to close on it, but if there's interest, let us know. So Mike, go ahead and drop the address on there.
What is 890 square feet, Marianne? Is it the lot size or the?
The lot is 7,800, and then it's flat up in Waiwa Heights, and the property is 894. I mean the building.
And it's zoned R5.
What was that?
Is it zoned R5?
That's what I didn't get a chance to check on yet. I think it might be, but I can confirm. I'll put it on the chat box.
Perfect. Oh, nice. I know there's a lot of people looking for something to get into. So yeah, definitely drop it in the chat.
Yeah. Especially Waiwa Heights, up there. So
Waiwa is a great area. Yep.
Yeah. So Mike, go ahead and drop that and I'll confirm on the zoning.
Okay.
Thanks.
Right on. Thanks, Marianne. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Can you guys, there's like construction going on here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'll try to mute in between. So,
it's not showing up. You're good, Corey.
Right on. Thanks, Matt. All right. I'm just catching up on the chat. Does anybody else have anything else?
I got a potential property in Kent, Washington. An agent called me about being a lender on it, but it's actually not a livable structure at the moment because they went halfway through remodeling and then stopped. They're looking to sell it now. So Alexander's actually working the hard money on the back end, but once I get home, I'll send out the link. All the permitting's already done. It sounds like they did most of the work. They just didn't finish the actual remodel portion. It's in Kent, Washington, and it's only going for $250 right now, the third of an acre. And honestly, you can't find land for that cheap in the area right now, let alone a townhome or a fully built structure. So it might be a good investment property. It might be a good flip of sorts. Once I get home, I'll shoot the link in the chat.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Matt. And thanks for giving us a shot on that one too.
Absolutely. Anything I can't touch, it goes your way.
Thanks, brother. All right. Well, if you guys have anything else, just drop it into the chat. Apparently there's like a raise your hand icon too, but I always miss it. So just feel free to unmute and jump in. But for now, I'm gonna introduce Joel and Marianne Bongco, and they're dear friends of ours. We just closed another loan with them, so thank you guys for trusting in us, and like family now. And I know you guys are working with Justin and the guys, so thank you. And I want to just hand it over because I was reviewing your guys' presentation. I was like, wow, I think this is going to be great. So Joel and Marianne, why don't you guys talk about introduce yourself again? I know you guys have been on before, but just in case there's others who haven't seen you on, introduce yourselves, what you guys have going on, and then let's jump into what you got today.
Yeah, hey guys, Joel Bongco. Sorry, I'm typically I've got an executive meeting during this time, so I always want to join, but I end up just watching the recordings. A lot of good information. So I got my wife. She's my partner in crime. It's kind of funny. People always think of us as like brother and sister because we're always, we're like that crazy couple that's always snapping at each other. It's pretty hilarious. Like, for example, when I do this presentation, if you see her like roll her eyes, it's gonna be like Marty McFly in Back to the Future. It's like my version of chicken. So when she rolls her eyes and I go all crazy, but that's okay. That's fine. But yeah, she's my partner in crime. We've been married for a long time, over 30 years, right? Over 30 years. Yeah, so we've been married an extremely long time. And we're kind of like, sometimes oil and water, Batman, Batgirl, whatever. And then, yeah, so Marianne, you want to say a few things?
Hey guys, yeah, so Joel and I, 30 years, have three kids. We're kind of empty nester in a way, and it's just unbelievably a different experience. Now we don't know what to do with each other. So we have two boys and a girl. The oldest one is 27. He's in Seattle. He's an attorney. The middle one is 23, and he actually works for Joel's company. And then our daughter Lauren, who's 19. She's currently at the NYU Film School, so she's kind of our expensive one. So we got to keep flipping homes just to pay for that damn tuition. Like Joe said, we're always throwing off on Tesla over the cliff every year because of our tuition. So real estate is a good way to support that. I can tell you that right now. But we're glad to be here. Like Corey said, we're part of a community called New Wealth Advisors Club. We have some people here in our club members. We got Mike, Christian, Sione, I think, and a couple more that's going to be jumping in. So for real estate investing, and Joe can go over his presentation, just to give you a little bit of background, our methodology is a little bit different. I know sometimes when I talk to Pam Sato, I drive her crazy because we come up with all these, crazy scenario that you don't typically come across. And Joe's going to talk about how sometimes we feel like we're case management, and my team probably going to say, yep, because we first want to help the homeowners. And so it becomes very challenging, let me say. So I'll just leave it at that. And, that's part of our mission. So it's not your typical REI, but
yeah. And that's what I love about you guys. And Joel, do you or Marianne, whoever is gonna be sharing screen, do you have controls?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, perfect.
I got controls. Got it.
All
So
right.
let me kind of get into this. And I thought I had my screens up. Oh, here it is. let me just show you guys really quick. You know, and maybe luckily there's no. Is there any Randalls here? Yeah, I think part of it is maybe Randall no can handle. Here's all the. Do you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and obviously these are not on MLS. It's been a lot of hard work, and it's been a lot of case management. It's honestly, it's mentally exhausting because we've got a kind of a different approach in terms of how we tackle the community. So for the most part, we've got most of our businesses here, and we got a couple in Maui. But let me kind of share with you guys somewhat of our secret sauce in terms of what we do as a just as a community. So let me start here and let me go into reading mode. Okay, you guys see my screen with the toolbox? So here's one thing is I'm gonna kind of be all over the place, and part of it is I just want to provide you guys with as much value as possible. This is actually a class that I teach in our club. So I took various pieces of it, so it might be all over the place, but just you know, just be patient. And by the way, as I move forward, go ahead and feel free to ask questions. So this is me. I'm Joel Bongco. I've been on my day job. I'm actually in IT. I'm a local business owner here. So I own a mid-sized software development company here in Hawaii called eWorld Enterprise Solutions. So we do software development for the state of Hawaii. We've been doing that since 1999. This last year, we've been super duper busy, specific to COVID. So I don't know if you guys have been using an app called Safe Travels. So we manage that app. You know, we're getting barraged with calls because on July the 18th, you know, we're gonna have some trans-Pacific people, but got about 6,000 calls a day. So we support that. We also do unemployment. We help with unemployment. We've been helping with the vaccine hotline. And then, you know, one of the big areas that we've been working on is in the area of services, because there's a lot of people out there in need of services. So our big client is the Hawaii Department of Human Services. So a lot of the different programs that they offer, we put it all online. So if you've ever used that site for either First to Work or childcare or any one of those services, and you fill out those forms, we've actually developed all of that. So I'm the chief technologist here at eWorld. So my day job is in tech, and then outside of this, you'll see me hauling trash. You'll see me at Home Depot. You'll see me maybe you know, complaining to one of our contractors. So I mean, I'm pretty much working you know, 2 jobs. Day and night. So my other job is I'm a real estate investor. I do have a passion for research and development. So it's interesting how my worlds collide. I mean, it was really Marianne's passion around real estate. And then for me, it was around tech. And we've recently joined forces and big things have happened. Earlier this year, I was named 2021 Filipino Entrepreneur of the Year. I think that's a lot of that has to do with you know, the work I do in my day job. However, it was really discovered by doing real estate. So you know, one of our CEO and founder, Melina Boswell, always says that real estate is what we do, but it's not who we are. And I think it's really who we are that we're able to connect with a lot of homeowners. One of the big philosophies that I have is, you know, this thing called the hedgehog effect. It's a Venn diagram of really 3 big circles. One is what are you deeply passionate about? And I think for me, it's just it's about greatness and revealing greatness in people. So that's what I'm deeply passionate about, because there's always good in people, and you know, I love to squeeze the best version out of them. I think what I'm at the best in the world in is really solving problems, and especially leveraging technology. So, and it could be anything like electrical problem, a plumbing problem. It could be something structural with a house. It could be an acquisition thing. So, I mean, that's a big part of my world. And then what drives our economic engine is, you know, how do you end up making money? So I think for us, I mean, there's 2 big things. So we have Inspired Life Investments. And then also for me, being an owner here at eWorld Enterprise Solutions, you know, all of these things blend together really makes up who I am. And I really think it is. This is part of the juice, and this is the contribution that I bring to our community here is these things. So that's me. So this is my daughter, and she tends to she tends to be pretty sarcastic with her dad. So this is a Instagram post that she did, but it's actually true. So my dad only speaks in metaphors, so that's pretty funny. And then the other one that's here, but actually that she said, but it's not posted here, is I may lead you on a road that leads to nowhere. So those are two big disclaimers. In any case, one of the big things that we have, and we look at it differently, right? I mean, when it comes to homeowners, when it comes to people that you're dealing with, you got to know your audience. So here's kind of the spectrum, right? You've got traditionalists, you got baby boomers, you got Generation X, you've got millennials, and then you've got Gen 2020. So the reason why this is important is when you're dealing with homeowners, for the most part, you're in this area. And then on the bottom here, you'll see, and I'm always big into lines and arrows. So if you take a look at it, it's obviously, if you're a traditionalist, you're not digital. You didn't grow up digital. You know, that was World War II, the Great Depression. However, you know, in the baby boomer industry, in the generation, is there was just starting to be tech. And then obviously my wife and I and mostly and beyond are Generation X. So if you take a look at the bottom here, I think the significance is just being aware of the types of people that you're dealing with and what their technical acumen, appetite is. The reason why this is important is because we talk about the electronic age. In the electronic age, most of these people down here will, when it comes to Facebook and websites, they'll be fine, but not necessarily here. And the reason why this is important is because it really helps in understanding this from a lead generation perspective. So it's not a one size fits all that you're going to really need to know your audience. And then there's even one greater here in Hawaii, right? So, and I'll give you an example. So one of the things we talk about in IT is making data-driven decisions. And the reason why is you don't want to do the Kentucky win and just kind of guess. You really want to have data behind it. And if you take a look at the data here, and the people that we connect up with, when it comes to, maybe the younger generation, we definitely find more younger military couples. So a lot of things that we see, that's a pattern, younger military couple getting divorced. So the one that we just closed in Eva Beach was just that. And so we spent a lot of research in not just, script tracing and sending out mailers and, I want to buy your houses, but really understanding your target audience. And a lot of times it'll be the young military couple. It'll be the kapuna, it'll be the elder, and what happens is the kids didn't really kind of help them. So they're in reverse mortgages, and they're either not paying their taxes or their insurance, and then they go into, and then what happens after that is a bunch of other predatory things happen. So we do a lot of education. So we cover pretty much the gamut of the different types of people out there, and each one's different. You don't send out a mailer, you just call them. So that's what Marianne was talking about. So when it comes to lead generation, and you've heard of a tool called CRM. For us, we do more than that. It's around case management, and we'll get to not only know the homeowner, but we'll also get to know their family members. We'll get to know their neighbors. It's a very atypical approach, but it works. And if somebody could time check me, because I definitely can get easily vala'au when it comes to speaking about this.
Well, I roll my eyes when you get
there.
there.
Did you roll your eyes already? Okay, just checking. Somebody stop me if I'm talking too much. So here's kind of the thing. So if we remember earlier, we talked about the different types of generations, and here's all the tools. So this is what we have. We have anything from and this is probably our number one tool. People don't like to do it, but it's really the door knock. The challenge with the door knock is it has to be done a specific way. It's not like, hey homeowner, bro, like buy a house. It really, there's a lot of art and science associated with this approach. This is our number one approach, but there's also the yellow sticky. We have our own kind of flyer that we send out. The yellow mailer typically works really, really well. And then we use a lot of the electronic things, you know, as usual, direct message, text. And then, you know, obviously we also do the electronic stuff as well. But a lot of these things, it's not willy-nilly, because at the end of the day, there's time and money in doing a lot of these things. So when we talk about case management, we are pretty laser focused. And so we go to we skip trace every single person, and we see what type of profile they're at. And we really start here. And then we start peeling the onion. So it really gives you a good shot at ultimately getting connected, which could also include this thing, what I call the digital door knock. So I'm going to pause right there. That's a big mouthful. Any questions so far? Hopefully this is not making you fall asleep, because I've got the attention span of a third grader. So, you know, too much on Zoom and I'm, you know, kind of thinking about other things. So here's one of many approaches, and it's the digital door knock. And I think many of you use this. I've seen many of your sites. So part of it is you leverage your digital footprint, and you basically, you knock on their door digitally, and it's really two ways. They come to you or you come to them. So they come to you as, you know, you have your carrot site, and, you know, you have your capture page, and they ultimately enter in all their information, and then you're able to call them. However, it can also be the other way around, where you send them a link to your site. And there's really a couple ways. There's a direct way to connect up with them, and I call it direct contact. And then there's another way, which is incidental contact, which actually is a great thing as well. The difference between the two is in a direct contact, you're connecting with them and you say, hey, homeowner, go check out my website. And if you're interested, please fill out your information. And then in an indirect way is they discover you. So that's super duper important, because nobody ever thinks about it. They always think about direct communication, not indirect. A lot of times we get our leads through indirect communication because they stumble on us. And that's a good thing, because they see who you are, and they end up connecting with you. So that's experiences that we have. The other thing that, you know, once you're in the door, it takes so long to get to these guys. What you don't want to do is squander it away. And the reason why is when you connect with these people, it's going to be on a sticky, you're going to put it on your phone. You might even write it on your hand, or you might be talking like, I always do this to Marianne. Hey, Marianne, can you make sure, you know, it's not like she's a secretary or anything, but my memory isn't so good. So I'm always kind of translating it to her, and she basically texts me with the information that I wanted to remember. But it takes so long to connect with these guys. So when you do, you don't want to squander it. So, and what I mean by that is, in the tech world today, there's a term, and it's called omni-channel. And what omni-channel really means is being able to connect with people in different means, but yet all be centrally managed. The reason why that's important is going back to the earlier thing of you're dealing with different audience types. So whether it's you know, meeting with them physically at their home, or them hitting your carrot site, you want to be able to manage this all in one place. So, I mean, having an omni-channel tool is definitely a game changer. And you guys are probably saying, what the heck is? If you're a tech person, you may know about it. And if you're not, I'll kind of share with you what I mean by that. So here's an example of why this is important. So I don't know how many of you guys do probate, but, you know, probate is definitely a good approach here. So I've kind of grayed out this hierarchy. So this is, you know, one of the things that you do when it comes to probate is you do intestate succession. And part of intestate succession is, I know I have it grayed out because I didn't want to disclose the names. But so this person at the top is actually the deceased homeowner. And then as you go down, this is kind of the hierarchy. And as you can see, all the ones in black mapping back to what I was talking about, all the different generations, they're all not digital. However, the ones down here are. So the reason why this is important, this is one of those laser beamed approach that I was telling you about, is a lot of times when you do lead generation, you're going to start up here, but you're going to use electronic means for people down here. So what I'm trying to say is, it's going to be more of a manual method if you're gonna connect up with the folks in the black, because they're going to be more traditionalists and baby boomers versus the ones down here. So that means your lead generation approach is going to be different. Probate's it's definitely a great lead generation strategy here, and it's good to use kind of this approach for that. So this works. This is one that we're working. This is an example of a hierarchy, a probate that we're working on right now. So here's the other thing too, is I know there's a lot of dependency on social media, and it really goes back to your footprint, but I don't think that is the silver bullet, that it ends all, it's an end all be all. And I think part of the tools that you need are going to be very common sense, and then there's stuff that just, oh man, I didn't really think about that. So here's my perspective. So not everything is going to ultimately hit your digital footprint. So I'll give you an example. So this is you, and this is where most people start and they fail. And the reason why is the best tool that you have is you. Okay, so when it comes to you as a tool, one is, it's who you are, it's what you do, it's what you have, and it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And the reason why this is important is because this is what gets you discoverable or not. I'm going to give you an example. There's many of you that are probably newbies, or some of you are black belts in real estate investors investing, and others are newbies. So here's the challenge with this. If you're a newbie, it's kind of hard, right? How do you give a newbie an opportunity? And they're not going to look like a newbie, but when you do a check on who they are, what they do, and what they have, and who knows them, they're going to look like this, which is absolutely fine. It's okay. It's okay to look like a newbie. However, it goes to one of our principles is, you can't do this alone. If you're a newbie, don't do it alone. You should definitely be there with somebody else. The other thing that you could end up looking like is a shark. So it kind of sucks. I think even for us, sometimes we have to put ourselves in check, and I'm like, hey, are we looking sharky? So, but I mean, you should definitely introspectively look inside in terms of how you occur to the homeowner. And here's one. This is the big one for me is, when it comes to homes, their biggest asset is in their house. And if they can't even Google you and know who you are, they're probably not going to connect with you, because you're going to be some phantom in the background. They don't know who you are. So here's some of the things that I've done, that we've done. I mean, we've done the usual site of, save, sell, save your home. So this is our old site. We don't use this anymore. And this eventually evolved into a Carrot site, which I think many of you use as well. It's a great tool. It's awesome. It works. But for us, we said, hey, you know what? We're ones that like to experiment. We like to turn things upside down, break it apart, dip it in Coke. And I think it's important as well that, hey, let's try to do something else different. So for us, we're gonna do it differently. So here's an example of what Marianne says, and it's absolutely draining. So here's one is, we lead with helping the homeowner. So, and a lot of it's education, right? It could be emotional, spiritual, and financial support that we help them with. a lot of times they're like in complete distress, and it's because of family. So we end up kind of being marriage counselors, family counselors. Sometimes we even end up facilitating a family meeting. And then for us, we know what our limitation is. We're not, we're not psychologists. We're not necessarily professionals. So we'll provide them access to various public services. So we'll connect. Marianne and I, we were part of a homeless board for a number of years. So we have access to a lot of different resources. So we'll get them connected. We'll help them with relocation. And then, the one that, it's interesting, Mililani, you don't find a lot of pre-foreclosures, but we find a lot of pre-foreclosures. And the reason why is it's this. We engage. So the last one that we had, and I'm going to show it to you folks, is the reason why a lot of the flippers wasn't able to connect up is because she had an issue with her ex-husband, and he wouldn't leave the house. So all the flippers said, I ain't going there. Call us when you get your husband out of the house. We took it in a different approach. We said, we're going to help you. We're going to help you relocate your husband. So, and then part of it is a lot of them have a ton of junk. And then we also have access to chaplains as well that we can use. Here's the things that we also do, and we do this for free. Help you with a loan mod, help you, educate you just to make sure, hey, you know what, if you're going to do a loan mod, don't pay nobody. Don't pay a lawyer. Don't do any of that stuff. You can do that. And if you need some assistance, we'll do that. We also have various legal teams here. So we have Ophir downtown here. One of the things that they can do is they can get bankruptcy protection as well. We also have Sam, who is our probate attorney. And then, we can help them with them. And it has nothing to do with buying their home. However, again, this is really the juice of why we do what we do. It is absolutely physically and emotionally draining, but this is how we regenerate. Because at the end of the day, you go through all these things and you just can't save your house. So that's where we work with them and see if we can get some money out, and at the same time, see what we can do to get the house sold. So this is what we do, and we don't ever bypass these steps. And even for some of our new club members are like, yeah, I go do this. But when it comes time to actually getting in front of a homeowner, they're already cashing their checks. And they're like, oh, they're already spending their money on their profit, where it's really not that. You really got to start here. So that's what we do. It's not a fit for everybody, but I mean, it's our approach. So for us is, what value do you bring to the table? And for us, it's just, we're people and purpose driven. Localization is important. One of the things for me, especially being in IT, I've got a coworker that says this all the time. When you say no worry, I worry. So, and that goes for me here. Going back to the trust but verify, data doesn't lie, but people do. And for me, one of the reasons why we focus a lot in the markets where we're physically at is, I need to verify. You're a good guy and all, but I need to see the data. I need to verify. We don't lead with buy, we lead with help. And, I think this is one of the big things, is real estate is what we do, but it's not who we are. And that's our brand. That's our value that we bring to the homeowners out there. And, so here's our site. I was on Carrot for a while, but we kind of flipped it on its head. So I have a reel, and basically it's Save Your Home. So this is our branded site that we have today, and basically it's about really helping people. We've got some partnerships as well. We've got the homeowner assistance program. We also have a firm in California. And then we've got, so the logos on the bottom can grow for sure. And we're also looking for partner opportunities here with people of the same mindset. And not only mindset, I want to make sure that that's battle tested. Because what tends to happen is sometimes people say it, and then when it comes time to actually act on what you say, you don't do. So this is part of our lead generation approach. So we do Save Your Home. So this is a website that we have. And the cool thing about this one is, there's so much to go around. We're in a mind space of abundance, not scarcity. So if you take a look at the contact us now, you'll see a lot of us here, here in Hawaii, as well as we got Annabelle over in Maui, and then we've got our other community members over in California. So really cool. It's a great way to do it. Here's the other thing too, from an incidental contact perspective, is you want to be discoverable. So honestly, my main billboard is my LinkedIn. And I think one of the big things is just being able to demonstrate your credibility, that, hey, you're not some shark. And, for me, I mean, I think this picture kind of explains the fact of who I am, that I'm a business owner. I'm definitely faith-based. I've got my own investment company. I've also done a lot of local stuff here, including being board president for a local homeless nonprofit. And then I've done a lot of tech over the years. So this is my day job. And then people discovered me this way. So a lot of times they're like, oh, hey, Joel, I thought you did real estate. No, I also do IT. So, they get, so I am typically the aloha collar, not white collar, the aloha collar guy. So the other demographic that we look for is, for the most part, if you look at the data here, obviously most of the people that are in pre-foreclosure are blue collar workers. And that's I grew up in a blue collar environment, got a lot of friends and family. And then, however, you do have the handful that are white collar. And so I basically tackle all of those. The reason why is, it's better from a business person to another business person to kind of walk through, kind of what your challenges are. So if we have any leads that come over and they're business people, which are really hard, especially when it comes to it's very difficult to lead generate with almost impossible to me if you're dealing with a doctor or a lawyer. But when it comes to business people, I typically tackle all the business folks in my group. And then the other thing too is giving back. What do you do? Like for us, we hire a lot locally here. So when people search, you're like, who is this Joel guy? What does he do? Is he a shark? Is he a con man? And no, actually his company does a lot of things. So one of our big things is try to keep the people here in Hawaii, keep the kids here in Hawaii. Instead of going out to Silicon Valley, come out here and do tech here in Hawaii. One of the big things is MFA. I know, Daniel, you probably know what this is, but MFA stands for multi-factor authentication. And it's super duper important. And the reason why is you do it in your bank, right? So what happens, this is Bank of Hawaii, you enter in your username, and what happens is they end up doing what they call a second check. And that's what MFA is a second check. So even though you know what your username and your password is, if you don't have that PIN or that 4 or 6 digit code, you don't get in your account. And MFA is what you are, what you have, or what you know. And the reason why I'm saying this is, well, how does this relate to real estate investing, Joe? I don't get it. And the reason why is you're going to get MFA'd. You're going to get verified. So you spend all of this money on mailers, emails, call, text, flyers, door knock, website. And then when they try to authenticate who you are, you may be a predator, a newbie, a used car salesman, and even an investor. And it's kind of junk sometimes here where, when people know that you're an investor, they're like, ooh, shark. I'd really love to change that mindset. And if we come in from a space of serving them, I think this is definitely something that we can change. But you're going to be authenticated whether you like it or not. And their version of no is no response. That's all. So it's not like they're going to call you and they're going to be like, hey, you're a newbie, Their response is you're going to do all of these things and you're not going to get anything back. So this is what we recommend. So you've got the homeowner, which is who we're trying to connect with. And this is you. And especially if you're a newbie, you want to bring in a SME, a subject matter expert. One of the things that we say is, if you find it, we want you to keep that, because you build this trust with a homeowner. However, you can't do it alone, and then we help authenticate you. So that's what we do here. We help a lot of newbies because they're like new, right? So we authenticate them, and then the homeowner, they see they're working with credible people. And then this newbie isn't going to be a newbie forever. This newbie is going to eventually be a SME. So our big thing is, hey, you newbie, don't forget where you came from, because you're going to eventually be this guy, the SME, and we need you to help somebody else, meaning pay it forward. So that's one of our big pillars, is to be able to pay it forward.
And I love that, Joel. Let me just step in real quick, because that's why there's a perfect example of why even like we can't do this alone. That's why you guys have such an abundant mindset, because we understand. And I think the more experience that people get in this industry, you'll understand that we're all potential partners. We all can lean on each other, because maybe you guys get wrapped into a deal because you're a SME, right? And you're helping somebody who's not really credible or doesn't have the digital footprint yet. Yeah. So they can leverage your experience, your reputation. You guys can get into a deal. They can get into one of their first deals, if that, and everybody wins, right? So I love that. Thanks for sharing that one.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm just doing a time check here. So let me kind of speed it up, and let me get into the tools which other people may or may not know. How many of you, do many of you use Howiki? So this is one site, and I think it's super duper important, is when you're going after homeowners, one of the things to see is, hey, what have been the issues? And you'll find, there's a bunch of different tools. This is a free one, right? So, and this is Judiciary here locally, and you can get a lot of information. So Mariana was hilarious one day. She goes, hey, Joel, I'm going to invite this homeowner to our house. I'm like, okay, did you go check? And she goes, no, that's your job. So I went to go check, and I'm like, road rage? I'm trying to grab a police officer's gun? No, thank you. You're not gonna bring him to our house. So we ended up meeting with them at I think it was CPK.
Yeah, my kids always say, you guys gonna get killed. They're always bringing strangers to our home.
Well, that's the other way to get authenticated. They know where you live. I know, we live on the edge. But one of the things you want to do in your skip trace, it's not always verified, but especially here locally, you can get a lot of information on Howiki. So have that in your back pocket.
Do they have systems like that, or websites like this publicly for each county?
Some of them do, some of them don't. I mean, for the most part, I've been able to find similar ones, because this right here is the Judiciary. And part of it is there's parts you have to be like, you have to be a sheriff or in the legal system, but there's some that are free. And then obviously there's other paid for services that can crawl these databases and can get you the information. So just super important for me, because it really gives you some forensics behind the person you're dealing with.
Right. So, what would you Google if you were in like Seattle, or if you're in Vegas, or maybe to see if they have a free system?
Yeah. I think it would typically be, you would go back to the court system. I would really start there, because even like Hawaii, they get choked. There's a lot of different systems that are available, and even in some of the other states that I've looked at, there's something similar. You're just gonna have to go Google it and take a look at, and then look at Judiciary. I think look at the state Judiciary system, and you can find. There's also paid services. You can get this. It's kind of expensive though. It's like $25 to $50 a search. So it can get a little bit expensive, but yeah, I'm very Pake, so try to go for the Pake special. This is definitely one of them. The other one you want to do is, that abandoned car you want to see. So I know like Hawaii is a state where we can't disclose the owner, but you can be a little bit pake and use this other judiciary search to search for license plates. So that's the other one. You know, you got that one abandoned house. You're like, hey, who's that? Whose car is that? So you might be able to take a look at this and see if you can get some clues. If you know, when was the last time that car was either on the road or somebody has had to have gotten towed or a ticket. That's the only way this shows up. But
Yeah,
hey,
you notice you get so excited, Joe, when you talk about that.
what?
You're a creeper.
Hey, be quiet. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. So my kids, you know, they'd be, I'm late at night, I'm like tinkering. He goes, Dad, stop creeping on people. I'm not, I'm just
Yeah, I'm having him
research
creep.
and development.
Yeah,
Research
I'm
and
having him creep people in New York for my daughter.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I got a lot more other tools. I definitely have, these are the pocket ones, but I definitely have the expensive ones too. So you know, this is our website. This is where they come to you, right? You got some kind of branding, and you know, people, I mean, you guys know all about this. You can use Carrot or whatever, but it's a good intake site. But for us, we took a different approach, and we're gonna help you homeowner first. And because sometimes it's a little bit of a turnoff when you're like, hey, homeowner, I'll go buy a house, or do you know anybody wanting to sell? So this is definitely the softer and less intrusive and more friendly, and we get higher hit rates with coming in with this approach. Obviously, LinkedIn for me is big, and this doesn't happen overnight, by the way. You know, this is something over time that you have to be building. Most people use Facebook or TikTok, but for me, I'm a big mine's LinkedIn. It's really my resume, and that's what I use. Here's the other thing, guys. If you ever wanted to do the Pocket Special and you do have a great footprint, LinkedIn's kind of expensive. Along with, I must spend $800 a month on just tools alone. It's pretty crazy. I know some of you spend probably a lot more than that on your lead generation sites. But LinkedIn has this 30-day free premium trial where I got our Kailua property because of this, and it was just sending him a note via LinkedIn. And I have a paid account now, but I did the Pocket Special. You get 33 in-mails, and if you were to use the recruiter account or a professional account, and then you can have these laser beamed. And again, you have to have a LinkedIn page that's pretty credible. So the other thing too is if you've got an LLC, please make sure it's current, because people are going to go check DCCA and see if your stuff is current. I've seen many people, they're like, hey, you know, and it's pretty hilarious. We always, you know, we deal with homeowners and they're always giving us flyers of, oh, I got this flyer from so and so and so and so and so and so. What is it? Yada, 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 yada. And then one of the things that I do is you want to make sure, at least at a bare minimum, if you got an LLC, make sure it's up to date, because people do look. I mean, I look for sure. And this also helps with your credibility, that all of your information, especially if you're incorporated here, that your information's up to date. Here's one of the big tools that we have, another freaking expensive tool, which is Follow Up Boss. It's awesome. So going back to omni-channel, so with this omni-channel approach, so this tool has everything in it. So if you do lead generation, it all goes here. If you do face-to-face, it all goes here. You can dial out of this. You can have it not only as your CRM, but as your case management system. You know, you can put all of the, yeah, and maybe it's a little gray area, but you know, you can put a lot of information in here, including the neighbors, and you know, maybe, you know, some of them may have some mental issues or violence or whatever. Have it all in here. The reason why is if you don't, it's going to end up on that sticky, or it's going to end up on that yellow pad that you're going to forget about, or it's going to end up on your phone. Here, it's all in one place. When you're calling people, it's all here. When you're getting emails, it's all here. It's all in one place, and you can follow the life cycle of your interaction with that homeowner from beginning to end. And even if it gets stale, so one of the cool things about this Follow Up Boss, and this is something we're going to institute, it's called the pond. And what the pond is so you know, we do this in community, right? So we haven't come out with the structure yet. You spend so much time trying to track these people down, and then life happens and you get busy. So the pond is, if you can take your lead and you can put it in a general place and somebody picks it up. So one of your other community members, like for me, I gave up, and then Mike, he decides to go pick it up. He can pick it out of the pond. And then if he converts it, then maybe we'll do some kind of referral fee. But it's a great way. You did a lot of the homework, but you didn't follow up. And, and the fortune is in the follow-up. So the pond, there's this whole pond thing where if you've got a lead and it went a little cold, move it to the pond and somebody else who has more time can go work it. So this is what we use. It's a great tool. It's a little expensive, but we've got 10 of us on this thing, and then we're looking to grow the subscription. But if you have micro teams that you deal with, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to potentially use, because I mean, there's a lot of other tools out there, but this one's nicely integrated, and it's all in one place, and you can customize it. Like if you've got drips and mailers and text messages all templated out. And that's the other thing too, is our big thing is, if you're going to use this, hey bro, you better share. Like if you got a specific, you got your killer mailer, or you got your killer text, or you got your killer automated drip, put it on here, because we want to make it available to everybody else that's using it. So that's what we do. This is the omni-channel approach. Again, face-to-face, text, Facebook, mailers. And then eventually for us, being the fact that I do call centers here at the state, part of my thing is, hey, we could probably do something similar here and have a virtual call center, because people, they don't like talk to a virtual agent or a chat bot. They want to talk to somebody live. So we were thinking, I'm thinking about having kind of a mini call center as well. So when we're sleeping and that one homeowner is all stressed out at night at 2 o'clock in the morning, can call their number and not get just an answering machine, but get some level of help. So that's that. And then for me, it's all about automation. I don't know if you guys use Zapier, but Zapier it's a great, they call it a middleware tool. And so, for example, if you're using MailChimp, or if you're using, you got a Google site, you can have all that stuff zapped into Follow Up Boss. So, but it doesn't have to be Follow Up Boss, but, use Zapier. And the big thing is automation. There's so much stuff that you got to do. So this is a opportunity for you guys to work Akamai and automate things. So I've got a couple of MailChimp sites. So my MailChimp site, or I've got an Eventbrite site, and I can use those as lead captures ultimately to land in the Follow Up Boss. But Follow Up Boss is not the only issue, but I like it because it works really well for me. And then, several of us, Marianne and I and team, were on Office 365, which, we share a lot of the backend document, whether it's NODs or any escrow documents, and, we can all kind of share and collaborate with each other. And basically, it's all about putting all of this stuff together from a tech perspective and have it integrated. So that's the big message here is, when you have these things, don't have it standalone. Make sure that it's integrated, because it'll really help you and your business. And really, when it comes to IT, it's really 3 things: people, that's all of us; processes; and then systems of support. So we're always good at the people part, processes a little bit, but these systems of support, this makes or breaks us. And if you don't have the right level of systems of support, you could be working hard, not smart. Here's an example of, and just a testimony that this thing works. I guess we could do a better job posting these on Facebook or what have you, but we've been pretty busy with this approach. Again, none of these are on MLS, other than if we're looking to sell it. But we've got, and then there's more. Our community is keeping us busy. I think, there's another backlog of 8 to 10 on top of this. So I want to kind of leave it with this one. So this is a Mililani one, right? So tax HOA default. We did a carryback. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And this is in this property, it was one of those situations where it was a ex-husband, wife, and there was just a lot of baggage, and we had to sit down with them and kind of work through that. And actually, it was really Marianne and Mike. I was just in the background doing all of the, ended up helping out with the renovations, but they did a majority of working with the ex-wife and the ex-husband, and
This is
all
the
of,
criminal that Joe found.
huh?
This is the criminal you talked about that I
Hey,
was having to the house.
HIPAA, you.
Oh, I didn't say name. I didn't say
Private-
name. But you know, by the way, just an FYI, he turned out to be a teddy bear.
Yeah, no, he was
You
a
know.
good guy. And this one, you know, Mililani is super hot. It was a little bit irritating as we were fixing this up. Everybody and their brother stopped by. When you guys gonna sell this thing? When you gonna sell this thing? I mean, Mililani is just crazy hot. So they accepted 544. Look at the tax and HOA default. I mean, they were on the brink of losing this thing just because of this. Many flippers went here. Many flippers went here, but we were the only one willing to help them with the ex-husband. So here's how it looked like. But this thing was disgusting. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 544. And then the rehab, we were gonna estimate. I'm always highballing. I don't know why. That's just me being conservative. I always highball the rehab. Just I don't want to get over budget. Marianne and I are always beefing with the rehab. So always going high. But you know, one of the reasons why, bro, this guy had a cat in here, and after we got rid of all this stuff, and the place smelled like shishi, we went through, you know, Nature's Miracle. We went through 15 bottles along with TSP. So we went through a lot of stuff to clean up this place. And then we found the cat, by the way. It was underneath this, a dead cat. I don't know how long it was there. Yeah, it was in here. The dead cat was in here. I could have sworn it didn't look like litter, but that bathtub was full of cat doo-doo. I'm pretty sure that was cat doo-doo.
No,
Tons of cat doo-doo in the.
Yeah,
you know.
when we visited the site, Joe's like, "You don't want to go in there."
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I want to go in there. The
Yeah,
minute
yeah.
he opens the door, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I don't want to go in there."
So yeah, our usual things, and you guys, I mean, you guys do beautiful renovations, you know, and this is, you know, almost all of our renovations kind of look all the same now. So our rehab was 80. I think we always do a little bit more than we should, just because we want to do things to code. We don't want to hide anything behind the wall. We want to make sure that people that come in there and buy the place, they're blessed, and everything is all G. So basically, and then we were conservative on the ARV, but here it is. So yeah, so this is pretty cookie cutter for us in terms of most of our things here. I mean, it's really cool. It's funny, you know, when you do it for the first time and you get that paycheck, you're like, yes. And then after a while, it's like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. Something happens. And I always say that I made this up. I should trademark it. You need to get it to get it. That sounds kind of simple. You need to get it to get it. Because for us, we get plenty of newbies. They're like, oh, you know, they even once they're super giddy. They get, you know, they talk to a story with a homeowner. They're cashing their check already, cashing their check. Where at the end of the day, you need to get it to get it, and then once you get paid, you're like, it's okay, it's okay.
By the way, I want to shout out to Mike. He actually, his wife actually found this. Yeah, Mike, driving for dollars. It looked like it was vacant, but it wasn't. But yeah, so he connected well with the homeowners.
Yeah, so Mike and Carla, you know, they're the dynamic duo, and you know, they found this property, but it was great, and this is pretty typical for our fix and flips. That's what we do. And then ours is just, you know, they call this the Deming model, and it's plan, do, check, act, and it's another way of saying, hey, continue your craft, find ways to get better and better and better, and just, you know, do things and then optimize it. So this is what we just shared with you is a sweat equity of been doing this thing for years. And you know, for us, it's about you know, sharing it with our community and just trying to make it better. So with that said,
I want to
Okay.
add, Joel, real quick.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
know, Joel emphasized how we lead in with trying to help and serve the homeowner, but we do let them know the trifecta, right? Which is we come in, we lead in with selling your home, but we never ever want to fool them, because at the end of the day, if the end result is they just want to sell their home and they're done with it, they know that that's what we do too, because we never want to be a bait and switch kind of people, because then that's a shark, right? And oftentimes it's interesting because when we lead with that, there's several homes that they actually literally just give us the keys, like, I'm done with it, here's the keys. And the one that we at Mililani, Malka, same thing. Joe's like, she's ready to hop on a plane to New York, I need you to go there that morning, and she was leaving that afternoon, and just literally just hand the keys.
Yeah.
Another one in YPO, right, Mike? Just hand the keys. I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable, when you really go in with a service heart, you'd be surprised. You
Why
just
don't you,
come
why don't you tell them what the profound thing that one homeowner told you
Oh,
recently?
well, the one with, I'm not going to mention his name, but it's another one that Mike, I think that we're not going to wholesale, right, Mike? We're going to keep it and fix it. Um, one of the things he said to us was, there's so many people that come to him, knock on his door, call him, and making offers and stuff like that. And he's so trusting, right? He's so trusting. So we met with him last week, and he's been living in his condo for 4 years without electricity. And he said that his meals typically, if it's ever on sale at Long's, which is tuna mayonnaise, he'll take that. And I said, Sonny, you're so trusting. You're so trusting. You don't even know who we are, and you're already trusting us. Your situation. And honestly, he turned and he said, Marianne, if it's not you, then who? And oftentimes in the work that we do, it's very challenging and emotionally draining. And some days, when I talk to Melina and all our my mentor and Core's mentor, I don't know how she continued to do it, because it is. Some days I just want to walk away. Some days I want the easy one. But when Sunny said that, if it's not you, then who? Um, it brought home. It brought perspective that there are a lot of homeowners out there that really needs our help. And so our team knows that. And this is what I tell Mike. If we're going in there, he brings me and I said, Mike, if we make nothing, but we can help that homeowner, are you okay with that? If his answer is no, then don't call me. But if his answer is yes, then we're going in.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the model and methodology that we have. It doesn't work for everyone, and it's okay. But for us, it's just, and it actually blesses us in many different ways, so. But yeah. And the reason why too, now it's a good time that we share this with you all, because we all know moratorium is going to be ending real soon. And there's so many people out there. I think the data nationwide was about 300,000 and growing that took advantage of the forbearance. And we all know they're not going to have the means to pay for it.
Yeah.
We already know that. And so we're going to be flooded. It's not probably going to be like in the 2008 where, market tanked tremendously, but we will have a lot of people out there that's going to need our help. So that's kind of what we're calling out is, if you come across and you don't have the means to help them with loan modification, hey, reach out to us. And if they in turn say, you know what, they can't do the loan modification, they want to sell, we'll let you guys know. Hey, you know what, this client you sent us, they cannot qualify. Talk with them and see if they're willing to sell. Yeah. So there are help out there. Our company, our organization, they do help homeowners. I was just on the phone this morning with one. She paid the guy $4,000 to do her loan mod, and he hasn't done anything for a year. And anyway, just make the story short, I was on the phone with them this morning with her in the bank, and now they're going to open it up for her, and she doesn't have to submit anything. And sometimes they'll tell us, can we pay you? And we're like, no, because it comes around some other ways. But yeah, so that's kind of the latest that we're preparing for, is like Melina said, we're preparing for that.
Yeah, and I love that it's the same style that and approach that we have, and that's why I couldn't be more proud to really be able to say that, I really did start with Melina and the whole family and New Wealth Advisors Club, and then now reconnecting with you guys here in Hawaii. So it's just so fitting. And it reminds me, we had our NPLA call yesterday, and they went over basically the lineage or like the history of private lending and hard money lending, because a lot of the pioneers of the industry are in the NPLA. And I think it's important because their whole reason to speak about where the industry started, because back then hard money was basically using your own capital, right? And charging up until a certain LTV and high interest. I remember when I started in the 2000, when I really started looking at hard money in 2013, rates were 15%, 3 points minimum, and they would give you 65%, of the purchase price or the value, and no construction funds, So, but the space has changed dramatically, and many of the people who have pioneered the space are in the room within the NPLA, and they pioneered the space because they brought national and real, I guess, a spotlight on our industry to show institutions on Wall Street that, this is a credible industry and it's worth, throwing some money into. And now it's a $50 billion industry within the last 8 years, maybe, and it's a lot of it's because of these guys who are explaining what they have to do to get the industry to that level of a reputable industry where people's retirement funds can go into, these deals that we do, because a lot of it's coming from big banks, that manage portfolios. So their whole thing was, all it takes is one bad seed to ruin this for us. The moment that Wall Street doesn't like our industry anymore and they're out, it's going to be harder to fund deals. And so it's very important, and even in our space as investors, like Joel was saying, to put people first, because we only cater to like 1% of the market, the people that actually need help and service. They need people like ourselves to come in with capital to get them out of hard situations, capital or creative solutions like Joel and Marianne are talking about, so we feel a very necessary need. But it's also important that not only do we check ourselves in how we're doing business with these homeowners, but also each other, hold each other accountable, because the more and more that our reputation as real estate investors change, the better it is for everyone, because then the opportunities open up even more so, right? And over the last decade or so, especially with all the training companies and the HGTV shows and stuff, our space has grown substantially, and we feel a very necessary need where we're not large developers gentrifying neighborhoods. Sometimes gentrification is necessary, but a lot of times it isn't. It's for profit, for large conglomerates, and we're like mom and pop, that we're everybody, so we do a few houses at a time. But if enough of us do a few houses at a time, that's a lot of homeowners being helped, a lot of jobs being provided, a lot of money being moved, right, for materials. And so we make such a big impact, and it's important, I think, that we all police each other to hold each other accountable to do business the right way, like Joel and Marianne were talking about. But thank you guys so much for sharing today. And you dropped a lot of tools in there, Joel, so thank you for that. Like I wrote down a couple that I think that is necessary for us, for sure.
But of course, I wanted
really
to
appreciate it.
add, and I appreciate that, and I do believe, and 1,000% agree with that. And there's a thing with real estate investors like us here in the community, whether we believe it or not, we do have a greater responsibilities, and we typically take that lightly, right? Because even if you're a newbie or whatever, you have that response because you know a little bit more than that homeowner.
Yep.
So, Melina always like to say that, we see people, not the dollar sign. But we ourselves can get into that where we see dollar signs. So we always do that whole self-check thing going on. But, a couple of times I'll slap Joel, right? Because it'll be like equity split 50-50. I'm like, what the frick? What is wrong with you? About the offer. What the heck? It's all about that, yeah, it's just crazy, but abundance will come for sure when you're not seeking it. Yeah.
I really think like that's the only way to run be sustainable. If you're the people in for the the short profit and the short gains they don't really stick around very long, unless I don't know, maybe they go to different markets but I see it as you got to take care of the people first, whether even within your own company, if you're in it for the long haul, like that's the only way to do it, I feel. So yeah, our hearts are in the same, space as your guys is. And I love when, you or Melina or Andrew or somebody's on the call, because there's a lot of trust. Like I feel safe, that we're speaking the same language, same culture to the same type of people. So thank you guys for taking the time to share today. And everybody, Joel dropped his information on Joel and Marianne. So please reach out to them if you guys feel like there's some sort of ways that you can work together. And
I think Lloyd was raising his hand. Lloyd, would you have anything to say? I think you're raising your hand.
Oh yeah, thank you for checking out. I always miss those.
Sorry, I get so into Zoom facilitate. I'm always on these Zoom calls.
Oh no, I need. Is that Lloyd? What's up, Lloyd?
Oh, you're still muted.
Haven't seen her for a long time, but today's presentation was excellent. Just excellent. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, welcome.
Awesome. It was. Thank you, Lloyd. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was great.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a quick preview shout out. I know you talked about Melina and Andrew them. So they are flying here on the 25th. And I know when I met Tristan and Kamohai at the beautiful beach house with Scott them that, we want to get them together so you guys can meet Melina in person. So we're trying to put some stuff together, continuing with the theme of, our great responsibilities to our community. When you go out there working with the homeowners, look at them as your auntie, kupunas, and your vision and your perception of them, of that situation starts to shift. It becomes personal. So yeah, we'll get that out. I know I do a quick.
That's September, not you didn't.
I'm sorry, September 25th. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too is, I mean, we have access to a lot of facilities. I heard Mastermind earlier. Shoot, maybe we could join forces and do some big thing. I don't know.
Oh, we definitely should. And yeah, so September, like we'll keep everybody updated, but Melina and Joel and Marianne and the whole New Wealth team, I think you guys are going to be put on a little get together, which we're going to help and be a part of as well. So that's going to be exciting. Hope it sounds like according to Mama Cheryl that now we got some less restrictions. So
yeah, we do have our office over at the Entrepreneur Sandbox. I don't know. We have access to that big room as well. So I don't know. Well, we can talk about it offline and see what we can do.
I'll tell you what, the governor may regret this because I have a feeling we're coming in full force.
Yeah.
The reason why is you gotta keep we
indoors. It's interesting. So we have a direct connection with the governor's office because we're doing safe travels and anytime, or actually unemployment as well. But there's definitely a lot of things coming down the pipe to open up Hawaii. So yeah, I'd love that. So
well, let's definitely, as soon as they lift that, yeah, let's definitely get together, and maybe we gotta figure out something for everybody in the mainland, or like Steve and Matt and everybody kind of that hangs out all the time. And hopefully maybe once a year we can do something. Usually we go to the Fortune Builders Conference. I'm not sure if they're gonna have it in Vegas again this year, but if they do, we'll be there, our whole team. So hopefully see everybody kind of midway in the States in the middle. So
hey, you let us know where. Steve and I'll fly out.
All right, there you go. There you
I
go.
miss body surfing. I need to catch some real waves.
Maybe somebody can we can figure out how do we charter or commercial, like we'll syndicate, we'll do a syndication on like an airline jet. Okay. And then there'll be just people that want to hang out, we'll just fly. There'll probably be a horrible ROI, but it'll be a lot of fun though.
I know someone that's a private pilot, right, Joe?
Okay.
Oh, actually, Corey, you were talking to him, Justin Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a private
Like, bro, if you wanna go fly up to the mainland, well, let's do it. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
You can actually do this a different way. Do the mastermind on the plane trip.
Well,
Hey.
Alexander wants to do like a cruise, get like a yacht or something, but I think we're getting a little crazy.
I think it's actually cooler in Hawaii than it is here in Washington right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is.
At least you have your trade winds going. It is cooking here.
On Monday, it's going to be hotter in Seattle than it is in Miami. It's going to be 112. Insane.
Oh, in Seattle? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jonah just said Fortune Builders event. Oh, it's gonna be virtual. Oh, shucks. Okay. Well, I guess we gotta do something then.
It doesn't mean we all can't get together and jump on the same phone call.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you guys again, Joel, Marianne, and Mike. Appreciate you guys, and everybody have a great weekend. I'm gonna hang out for a few more minutes, but other than that, have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Aloha.
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 Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.